Were you a guitar player first as a child and then discovered the blues, or did you discover
blues
early on?
I never like came to. I started playing guitar to play blues.
To be able to play what you were listening to.
Yeah. So I was listening to B.B. King from a very young age.
Wow.
And stuff. So B.B. was my first hero.
Sure.
But it's a hard thing to explain. I was listening to B.B., but he was. I never felt like I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and I had some videos my dad had left when he moved to California when I was a kid, and so he left me some of his videos in the UK, and I used to watch this video of BB from probably like 9 or 10 years old. But I never thought I might be able to do that with BB. It was too majestic.
Yeah.
It was so beyond.
Powerful.
And I couldn't relate to it. I loved it.
Yeah.
I knew I loved it,
mm-hmm.
but I couldn't relate to it. And so it took seeing BB jamming with Albert Collins and Stevie Ray Vaughan on a video, another video one summer then when I was in the US with my dad. I was about 12 then, just before Stevie died actually. And somehow seeing those guys playing with BB as well, I thought maybe I could do this as well. You know, like that was the catalyst.
So you still weren't playing guitar?
I'd been kind of trying to. In fact, I'd actually got bass first because BB had a great bass player called Russell Jackson, who's still out there, so I thought, well, maybe I could be like the bass player. You know, BB was so untouchable to me.
Right,
he was just beyond a hero. You know.
Yeah.
But then, so I had one around a little bit. But then I saw this video, and you know, of course, Stevie Ray Vaughan had a way of really packaging the blues in a very accessible, but still deeply genuine and sincere and powerful way. And I think he's clearly responsible for the same response in many guitar players, but he really made it available to us. But then I was lucky to have my dad to go, well, okay, well, if you like Stevie, you've got to listen to Albert King as well.
Yeah, right,
you know?
right.
So he would take me back through all those guys, you know, because you've got to have the roots down deep in this kind of music for it, for it to sound right. I can tell when someone's only listened to Stevie Ray.
Right.
Sounds fake to me.
That's right. Was your father a guitar player?
No.
There
was a guitar around. He's got a lick, but...
So what was the process of learning like?
Well, I will say he taught me to listen. He does listen to music like a musician. He used to be, I remember from being very young, he'd be in his study with his reel-to-reel machine with headphones on, like completely absorbed.
Right.
And so really that's how I learned. I was talking to a friend of mine about it recently, Tomo Fujita, a great guitar teacher, and how lucky we were to be of a time where you weren't completely overexposed to content. So like now you go on YouTube and click video, next video, and you don't really listen deeply to anything.
You move right along.
Whereas I would take my dad's vinyl when I was in the US, in California for the summer, and get a couple of cassettes. And then those few records are all I would listen to for the next year.
Right.
So I would know everything everybody did, and you listen very, very deeply that way, and that's a different experience than just endless information, right?
Yeah.
So I only had a couple of Albert King records at the most, and a couple of BB records. I didn't have like everything everybody ever did. So you get very deeply into stuff. So I just listened and tried to
play along. So no lessons, just
no. The only lessons I ever had was when I was about 7 or 8. And the guy at school taught us like row, row, row. You know, like the cowboy chords. But as far as playing blues, no, I just sat there and started, picking it apart and trying to make those sounds. Right. And within 6 months I had a band. It was
kidding.
Like went back to school and said to a friend of mine, we're starting a blues band. And go, okay, I'll play bass. Another friend says, I'll play drums. Right. And actually, Johnny, my organ player right now, we went to the same school. So we did our first gig together in 96 or something.
Really? Yeah.
So he was like 16 years old.
And what's the response of all these people at the school? You're a blues band. This is the age of rap and hip-hop.
They didn't, and it was like Nirvana and the Red Hot
Chili Peppers. That's right, the Seattle sound.
Early 90s, it was starting to come out and that kind of thing. Yeah, it was. We were certainly different, but people. It's funny, but like now there's lots more music in that area of the country. But we were the only band in the school. We were like the band of the school. That was it. Yeah. And so we happened to be blues. But it was. Actually, we used to play a lot. There's a U.S. Air Force base near where I grew up, RAF Fairford. So they had American servicemen and actually like the F-16 pilots and the B-52 bombers is where they would stop to refuel on their way out to go and drop bombs on someone during the first Gulf War. And so they were stationed there, and so we used to play on the Air Force Base in the bar in the rec room there and stuff because the American guys
understood
liked blues rather than the country pubs where we were. So that was our main gig back then, was playing to those guys.
That's great. Now you've mentioned all these American guys, B.B. and Albert. And what about the British guitar tradition?
Other than
the
some
blues guitar tradition.
Yeah, other than some Eric Clapton, but not his blues stuff really. Yeah. I didn't really listen to anyone. Okay. It was always the American guys. Yeah. You know.
Are you listening to any of them? I mean, obviously, have you listened to them since? And what's your take on, the Jeremy Spencers, the Peter Greens, the
beautiful
Kim
players,
Simmons.
Like Peter Green's a beautiful player. But I tell you where it always, what didn't keep me engaged with it, and it's not the guitar playing. Yeah. It was the groove of the bands. Okay. And it doesn't swing. British blues doesn't swing. Okay. Now, or enough for me. Okay. Whereas in the BB's band, it's swinging. But even a band like ZZ Top, I'm a big fan of the early ZZ Top stuff. It's swung, it swings, it's groovy. Yeah. And I didn't find the British blues quite the groove I was looking for. So again, it's not a criticism, it's just my taste.
Your own personal taste.
It wasn't the swinging feel that I liked. Yeah. So I wasn't compelled to listen further to the guitar playing. Right. Because I don't just listen to guitar playing, I listen to the entire thing is what I'm needing, Yeah. So I did. My coming of age, though, was Eric Clapton's Journeyman in 24 Nights Time. Yeah. So that's actually my favourite Eric stuff. It's his pop stuff. Yeah. I think he's a great pop blues artist that. But then it was all to the source for me, really, more than that. Well, Hendrix, I guess, but he had...
You're not going to claim him. Don't claim him as British.
His rhythm section was British.
I know.
And I love Mitch Mitchell, so Mitch is the swingingest British drummer for me, you see. More so than
Charlie?
Yeah, see, Charlie's got that. Well, this is the thing. Yeah. The Stones, to me, were a not very swinging blues band in the start, but that straighter feel that Charlie plays with, rather than being really swung, is rock and roll.
That's right.
That's the difference, is straight or swung.
That's right.
So out of being a not very good blues band, they became the greatest rock and roll band of all time. That's right. So that it's not a criticism, it's just the way where the pendulum swings, and I just always found the US bands and the feel of the guys in Chicago and Texas, Memphis, Booker T and the MGs, Stax and all that stuff. The grooves were just heavier to me.
That's right.
So that's been New Orleans as well. All those grooves are very important. So in my music, you hear little bits from all over the US.
That's what I said about this new record. I felt like I was listening to traditional blues from different parts of the country. It wasn't just centered in one part. It was.
Yeah, we're not like Texas blues, but we're not really British blues either at all, other than being British blues guitarists.
Yeah. What can you put your finger on where the line was between, let's say, the learning phase and then the on the road phase? Like, when did you hit the road and start to realize this is what it's going to be, and I've learned enough to get it?
Well, I mean, I was gigging straight away, as I say. So, I've been gigging since I was 13. So then it was like, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm a guitar player. I mean, as soon as I started playing,
as soon as you could,
then I was a guitar player, and I have been ever since. And I'd made my mind up then. It wasn't. Wow. So I have to say thank you and forever grateful to my mum for believing and allowing. Because I'm sure she had something else in mind. Yeah. I'm certain she did, but and I should have gone to university, and she never ever said for me that I must do that or do anything other than what I felt was the right thing to do. You know, so I was very lucky to have that. And so she's wonderful for that. So I was already playing locally, and then I started going to jams with Johnny, my organ player. His brother James is a guitar player, and he's a little older than me, and so he already had a car he could drive. So we started going to jams in London. So I was thinking about moving to California actually, because my dad was out there, but I got in a band going to a jam a couple of times in London, this pro jam that was on. Got in a band with, asked to join Lee Sankey's band. He's a great harmonica player from London, fantastic, amazing player. And so I was in his band, and my first gig was the 100 Club on Oxford Street, which is an iconic club, been there 80 years, and Louis Armstrong played there, BB's played there, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing it. So again, there was not like I can't pretend there was any master plan or career path. I just, okay, I'm in a band in London, great, I guess I'm a musician now. And sort of carried on from there. So 19 I think I was when I finally got a place in London, but I'd already been a couple of years down there most of the time. Right.
I know we were talking earlier about the blues club in London, Nothing But.
Nothing
and
But,
you said you got kicked out of there.
Well, it was kind of a... You're fired, you can't fire me, I quit. One of those type arguments, you know. But yes, we were too loud. That's where my organ trio with Johnny started, with my original drummer, Evan Jenkins. We just had a weekly thing going on there, because we were all playing in other people's bands still. So Johnny was playing with Otis Grand.
I love Otis.
And both myself and Evan were with Dana Gillespie.
Yep, I know her too,
and so I'd started doing this thing, but you know how small it is in there. And I got a phone call. We were really filling it up on a weeknight as well, and a buzz was starting to happen because there was no other organ trios and nobody was playing anything kind of. It was. I got to say, we were different for the British blues scene, doing like funky New Orleansy and really swinging organ trio blues. There wasn't anybody doing it. It was all much more either harmonica traditional stuff or more blues rock power trio stuff. So so there was a good buzz going off, but I got a phone call from the owner the day after. He hadn't been there, but his manager had said we were too loud. And I'm like, you know what? No, I found something that's right for me here. This is like, because the organ trio, I feel like it allowed me to find my voice as a guitar. It gave me a context for my playing that felt like I could call this my own, you know. So I thought, I'm not giving this up. I'm not compromising. I've got to stay true to it. So we're not too loud, and I'll find somewhere else to play. You know? And so because I took that step of starting to reach out to other venues, and which led to my first record coming out, and here we are now. I was going to say too, the last thing, I really love the organ feel of this CD. It's like all of a sudden, you think of a blues rock, when people put labels, you think, oh, it's a power trio, and the organ just adds so much to what the picture you're painting. I mean, John, speaking of which, he's firing up in the background there. He's been an integral part of the band from the beginning, John. We do have old friend mine, Carl Stanbridge, playing great bass guitar on a lot of the record this time. I just wanted...
free him up?
So there's some piano and stuff like that, where we don't have to do loads of overdubs, because I like to get the core of this thing as live as possible when we record it. And also because Jordan John, who's singing and playing drums on the record, he's doing the amazing background vocals on a lot of the tracks. Because of that, it was going to be different than my two previous organ trio lineup, so it was time to maybe make a new project altogether, And Carl really pushed it in a different direction, a fresh person, brings out fresh ideas.
Having the organ, does that free you up more than just a normal trio?
I never really liked playing power trio, because I get sick of listening to me all night. I like being part of the band as well. I like playing rhythm guitar, and I like grooving and getting in the pocket with the band, with the drummer. So I like being able to let Johnny play a solo and get behind him. And it's just more colourful.
And you can recreate different eras of music.
Yes.
More so than with just bass and drums, where you're sort of locked into that genre of it's a power trio kind of thing, Well, thanks very much, Matt. I appreciate it, man.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Matt Schofield. His new record is called As Far As I Can See. It's on Mascot Provog. I'm Art Tipaldi, editor of Blues Music Magazine. Enjoy the show.